morning, and welcome to another episode of Hard Factor presented by the Barstool News Network. It is What the Fuck Wednesday, March 11th. That's 3/11, right?
3/11 day. 3/11 has grassroots. Come on, yeah.
If you heard him again, I'll fuck you up.
If you're old like us,
Yeah.
and you came up in the late 90s, early 2000s,
Well, that was a great good morning.
and smoked a lot of marijuana, this day's important to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that, Mark. I had to ask you about 3/11 day because I was out of breath.
Yes. We've celebrated 3/11 days a few times. We came our freshman year of college. We visited you and Pat at LSU, and we did 3/11 day, and it was like a 5-hour concert. It was pretty great.
They used to have that at the UNO.
It was awesome. I passed out for 3 hours and still got 2 great hours of music.
I had 2 hand grenades.
Pissed my pants in the lawn.
I called that guy who that fake ID randomly. I called that guy. I called information and thanked him for existing. Just random guy. I was like, "I have your ID, man. Thank you, Brian Harris." And he was like, "That's fucking awesome, bro." It was 6 a.m.
I hope you're still doing it, Brian Harris.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian.
No way. He's not in jail. He picked my phone call up at 6 a.m. Was like, "All right, you got my ID. That's awesome."
He had a lot to do. All right, it's What the Fuck Wednesday, which means it's all listener submitted stories besides an interview. Whoa, a big interview. With Donald Trump Jr. tossed into the middle of these listener submitted stories. The order is going Wes, myself, Mark, and then Pat. So Wes, get us going, buddy.
All right, guys, this one was submitted by a number of you, including Charles and Patricia, who were the first two. And it was this week's favorite for What the Fuck Wednesday. So, Pat, you're going to like this. The Bath Township Police Department in Michigan is known for their funny, Facebook posts. They like to have fun at the police department, basically mocking the criminals they arrest in a lighthearted manner.
I like when that happens.
That's the opposite of what I like.
Yeah,
I know.
He knows.
Yeah, Pat's not a big fan.
I know that.
I'm a fan.
I like them to be focused on their police
like
work.
your Corona has meth stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's like an honor to be the subject of one of these funny posts, some would say. And their most recent one is the most viral yet. So the post, which starts, it's posted on Facebook, with "While you were sleeping," and says, "In the early morning of January 27th, officers conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle. A subsequent search located a very odd combination of illegally possessed weapons as well as methamphetamine." And then what got this post to be really viral is one of the hashtags, "Ancient Sword of the Meth King," because
that was all one hashtag right there.
Yep.
Ancient Sword of the Meth King.
So you guys can see the picture I posted in the notes. That sword in the middle, is the ancient sword of the Meth King.
So I'm thinking they might be throwing the word ancient around a little bit willy-nilly here.
Yeah, that looks like it was made in the 2010s.
Yeah, there's no patina on that sword.
It looks awesome, though.
I understand that meth takes your life early. So if something is in your possession for more than 10 or 15 years and you're a meth user, that's ancient. But how old is this sword?
If someone came at you with that sword, you're absolutely fucking
shitting
your pants.
You'd think it was Shredder from Ninja Turtles.
That's not a sword. Really, guys, it's not a sword. It's a machete. It's like a blunt machete with like tiny pieces of saw
with like saw teeth.
Yeah, I'd almost rather get hit with a sword than this thing. It looks like it'd fuck you up. So, and there's a bunch of other, like there's handguns, there's an assortment of knives. This guy's very into blades.
Yeah, except for, you know what the thing about that is? I think those are all 22s.
I don't like even the assault rifle looking one.
Everything is a 22.
When you're making that sword,
still hurts.
You think the Meth King goes for maiming? No.
No, but like
pretty sure. Yeah.
Do you think because it could be a decorative sword?
Well, it was in there with his other weapons.
That's for use. That's for actual use.
Yeah. So, and the comments are pretty funny. So it was just delighted the shit out of the internet. This post, it just took off, receiving 3,200 comments, over 4,500 likes with some joking. Holy shit! He had a 3-hole punch and a battery charger because they left the 3-hole punch and the battery charger on the desk, which was just very funny to me. Other nerds were quick to point out just what the sword actually was, which is the sword a character in the Japanese anime series Bleach carries with him. Yeah.
So it's a fucking toy.
That makes more sense.
So it's a fucking toy.
It's a toy.
This is going to piss off the real Meth King.
It's inspired by a cartoon.
Yeah,
it's
that
scary,
also
right?
backs up he only has 22 pistols. Yeah.
So the character Renji Abare. I hope I butchered that, you nerds. Just kidding. To each their own, you fucking anime nerds. Apparently, you can buy the replica online for $59.
Yeah. By the way,
what the fuck? That thing looks so awesome. $59.
That's a steal, in my opinion.
So whoever eventually marries or dates Will's daughter, his unborn daughter, don't be rolling with 22s. You got to have something higher caliber than that if you're talking handgun, because your future father-in-law will not be impressed.
Kill a man caliber.
I've been laughing at your caliber. Yes, I've been openly chortling at your small caliber. Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Wes, for the ancient meth sword. That was several submissions, right, on that one?
Yeah, a lot of them.
A lot of them. Well,
I thought it would be
this
better
next,
than that. It's just a sword.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was a
$6 sword.
That's a headline grab, though. The
They bought it at a vape shop, probably.
All right. Well, this next one is brought to us by Hardo Hive member Dan Hawkins, who on our last election live stream for Super Tuesday, or Super Thursday is what we labeled it, he said, please put this in podcast form to listen to tomorrow morning. Otherwise, I and many of your fans won't listen.
Yeah, someone else mentioned that too, so it's more than just Dan.
Yeah, no, we hear you, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So we didn't do a live stream last night, Dan. Instead, we're bringing you a recap.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what we're going to do is getting better at this. Even if we do live streams, we're going to get better at including election news in the next morning's podcast. But we might be a little bit saucy, a little bit loose when we do it because it's been a long day when we have to do it. So we're going to start that starting now. And fellas, let's start out on this new leaf by pouring one out for Bernie Sanders. Just go ahead and pour your drink right on the carpet because Bernie is dead.
Which
He's
is
not
something he definitely has in his house carpet. R.I.P. Bernie.
Yeah, he's toast.
Yeah.
What happened, Will?
I'm with them. I'm in the carpet crew.
We got carpet.
Yeah, Bernie on Tuesday night, March 10th, he lost, let's see, every state. Let's see. I don't know.
All the M's.
He had a heart attack in Las Vegas like a few months ago, and that was his second time trying to get the hardest job in the world. He's trying to submit himself. He's like the Buffalo Bills of politics, this guy.
He is like the Buffalo Bills.
So,
yeah.
I mean, last night he lost in Michigan. He got absolutely crushed. He lost in Washington. Everybody thought, hey, maybe Washington is his one thing. No, he loses.
The DNC are like the Dallas Cowboys to him.
No.
You just can't beat them.
Yeah, the DNC just absolutely crushed him. Cory Booker's out there giving speeches. Everybody, Andrew Yang. I mean, the DNC has their hooks in so deep. Andrew Yang, the android himself.
Yeah.
Endorsed Bernie.
Who saw
Endorsed
universal
Biden.
base income Yang turning on Bernie?
Great point.
Good Lord.
Great point. What the fuck is this fucking bullshit with the goddamn DNC? Like, straight up, all these traitor-ass motherfuckers.
They're the party. They're the party.
This is not new.
Especially Yang, though.
How is that
Especially
new?
Yang. I understand scared-ass Cory Booker.
And it's not just the DNC. It's the whole party. It's the leadership of the party. It's everybody feels that Biden gives them the best chance to win.
I would have turned on him, too. Everyone needs a job.
Yeah. The coordinating.
Get close to that power, baby.
Yeah.
Yang
Exactly.
took a job at fucking CNN, and he can't even endorse Bernie.
Pat, not only did he take a job at CNN, when he gave his endorsement of Biden, he was basically saying that there's going to be spaces for all of the candidates under Biden's administration. So he's thinking along
it's
the
going to
future
take a
line.
village with that guy.
Someone's going to...
Yeah, no shit, right?
You guys are going to have to jump me out of the Yang gang.
Yeah.
Yep. I think Yang jumped you out tonight by supporting Biden, unless you're a big Biden guy, which it doesn't sound like it.
Huge
Anyways,
Biden guy.
the likelihood of Bernie taking 70% of the rest of the vote, which is basically what he needs to do, is 0. So Bernie is dead. Pour it out.
Right.
And
so right off the bat, Missouri, Mississippi, as soon as polls released, declared for Biden immediately.
they declared Washington immediately.
Washington was pretty immediate.
Michigan pretty early in the night.
Michigan was pretty early in the night.
Which, by the way, that was a bit of a barn burner. That was a bit of a barn burner during the day.
Then there was Idaho and North Dakota.
During the day,
I think Idaho went to Biden and North Dakota was close. But
North Dakota was close. I don't know. I mean, basically, it's over.
But
It
what
doesn't
does North
matter.
Dakota have, like 6 delegates?
It doesn't matter. Washington and Michigan were the states. That was it.
Did I miss something? Did I miss
the bandwagon states?
I swear to God, people are people keep talking about how obviously there's name recognition because he was part of Obama's administration, but people keep being like, oh yeah, Biden. I know Biden because of Obama. I don't fucking know Biden because of Obama. I mean, was I asleep for 8 years?
No, it's people
He was vice president.
don't want socialism.
Not only that, but also Biden, Pat, he's been around the Democratic Party long before Obama even. So he not only was he the Obama VP.
Yeah, we talked about, he ran for 3 presidencies. This is his 3rd time running for president.
Yeah.
The first 2, he never even got in the top 3 or top 2 in a state. He won his first state primary on his 3rd time around, which is this time in South Carolina, and then boom.
He got busted for plagiarizing a speech before the internet existed.
By the way, Clyburn from South Carolina got him the presidency.
Yeah, Clyburn, that was huge.
Pretty much got Biden the presidency.
Well, that was huge. Also, Pete and Amy, you got to say, big part to play.
Yeah,
for sure.
But if he had lost South Carolina, which he probably wouldn't have, but Clyburn got him South Carolina, which got him the presidency.
Yeah, it was all like you said, Mark. It
The
took
nomination.
a village.
Sorry, not the presidency.
It took a village, right? Yeah, a little presumptuous. So let's move on to that.
I'm putting all my money on Trump.
Let's move on to that right now because it's all about the general now. Biden versus Trump mania begins. Where we have another story from Heart O' Hive member Adam W. And this was a submission of the video from Tuesday in Michigan, where Biden told a guns rights union worker, so a union worker at a car factory who supports guns rights, that he was quote unquote full of shit for telling Biden that Biden was coming after the Second Amendment. And then
he didn't
Biden
go malarkey, huh? He went shit.
Told him he went full on shit, and then he referenced both of his sons as current gun owners. In the present tense, and then challenged the guy to step outside. He also shushed his handler and called AR-15s AR-14s. And
that's a great insult.
And boys, are we going to be busy clipping Biden bloopers for the next 9 months.
I know, it's good for business.
Can't wait.
I would like nothing more. It's like a badge of honor. I want to get yelled at, but I want Biden to yell at me. I want him to just scream at me.
He also screamed in this video. He's like, "I bet there's clips of me. I bet there's
he shushed his handler.
If you can get within 10 feet,
his handler's like, "Stop talking." He's like, "You shush."
If you can get within 10 feet of Biden and say something he doesn't like, you're gonna get yelled at.
Yeah, guys, I agree, but don't get me wrong. There's something exciting about a politician, presidential candidate, someone who's running for leading our country who's fired the fuck up. But for some reason in this context, it just isn't good.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's just screaming at voters. Anyways, I need to wrap this up. So you thought Bernie bros were bad? Just wait till the CAG crowd gets going and they start being the ones protesting Biden rallies instead of Bernie bros.
Both
we are
sides
officially,
are bad.
Yeah, we are
Both
officially on
extremes.
to Republicans versus people who miss Obama. 2020, it is time. General election, boys.
Well, it's definitely Democrats versus Republicans, not issues versus issues because of what the DNC did. This one, guys, is from Soda Pop Pineberg. You guys ever come across a dead animal and think, well, that's sad?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not talking about like a dog or a cat because obviously. But
Like a bird?
But like roadkill. Like you drive by roadkill. I do sometimes. It makes my drive miserable for 5 to 15 seconds, depending on what type of animal it
No,
is.
you straight up
Like,
took
that's
out.
sad.
You took out the 2 possibilities of me feeling like that's sad. That's
Well,
a dog and a cat.
You didn't help today when we tried to rescue a dog, so
You see like
didn't surprise me.
Austin's
Pat,
like
can
an-
you help me rescue the dog outside your house? You didn't help with the
Austin's
car
like
crash
an
outside
off.
your house.
It's an off leash city. You see a dog off the leash and you run. You call the fucking animal control. They're like, "This is my dog."
Selfish in your own neighborhood. Anyways, what I don't do is what a woman in Waukesha, Wisconsin. I probably pronounced that wrong.
Yeah, sure.
That's where Kesha's from.
W-A-U Kesha? Like
Waukesha?
Probably
Waukesha.
Waukesha.
Well, what she did in Wisconsin when she came across a dead possum.
Waukesha.
Oh yeah,
There
that
it
sounds
is.
right.
There it is.
That feels good. I wouldn't mind living there.
Waukesha.
It's got to be.
What she did is get the cops called on her because after she freaked out the townsfolk. What she did is by freaking out the townsfolk is she pulled her car over beside a dead possum at the intersection of Springdale Road and Blue Mound Road, shout out Wisconsin, and got out of the car and started throwing water in the air at the possum. That was just the first part of the ceremony, though, as she then started to throw goldfish and windshield wiper fluid at the possum.
What?
Goldfish.
Like the snacker.
Well, that's what it wasn't clear in the article. I think it's actual goldfish based on how crazy she is. So this woman just had like a car full of alive goldfish, I'm going to assume, as well.
Random things.
And no one called her on that.
You don't want to be this lady's fish.
Why does she have goldfish in her car? So
In case she comes across a possum.
So anyways,
That's
she
a good
then-
point. You got to have possum bait.
According to the police report, that's true. She then pulled out a Green Bay Packer lawn chair and started yelling "repent" at the dead animal. The person who called the police actually followed the woman after her 15 to 30-minute ceremony and said that she drove away from the scene of the dead animal very erratically. Like, no shit. She was probably like speeding to Petco to get some more goldfish, to restock on goldfish that she's out of. She got away, though, guys, as the police did not arrive in time, so she's still out there somewhere.
What?
That's not good.
She's on the lam?
Yeah.
Bro.
She's just sprinkling live goldfish all in her
I
path.
think you could probably catch her if you just plant a dead animal on the side
I
of the
hope
road.
this lady comes to my funeral.
Yeah.
It's going to be electric. All right, guys, this one's from
Waukesha.
Adjurgermer, something like that. Hardo Hive member, thank you. Now, I know a lot of you guys are worried about catching coronavirus. We've talked about it on the show extensively. And
Guilty.
For those of you who have it, you're probably worried about telling people. If you've recently learned about your corona positive status, this can be a very stressful time. And if you're desperately trying to find a way to cure yourself before
It's like
any of
telling
your,
someone you have one nut.
it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Movember. But if you're trying to find a way to cure yourself before any of your neighbors or coworkers can find out, you're not alone. This is a totally normal reaction to find out that you're C-pos. After all, you're going to be shunned. Let's be honest. But the pure desperation to get rid of the germ is why I'm going to discuss with you guys some common myths that have been floating around the internet, wives' tales, if you will.
You better not debunk jerking off and weed because
That are potentially dangerous.
You could try, but you're not going to be successful with me.
yeah, I don't care if you do.
No, masturbation's
Right.
still in play.
Okay, so also the marijuana too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
as
oh,
I
yeah.
said, masturbation and weed.
That's
better,
Saturday, baby.
You leave those alone.
Can't take Saturday from us. First
Okay.
myth:
Well, have at it then.
drinking bleach cures corona. Now, I know I'm going to get a bunch of hate from the holistic bleacher community here, but I think it's time this myth be debunked. There have been lots of articles flying around the web championing the oral consumption of chlorine dioxide to battle the virus, specifically from homeopathic doctor Carrie Riviera, who clearly outlines on her website, carrieriviera.com, I recommend it, that bleach, it can kill germs in feces and urine, which can be hotbeds for coronavirus. And why wait until they're outside of the body? You can get a jump on the coronavirus and put it
Well-
right inside your body. Wrong.
There's a doctor.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't drinking
Doesn't-
bleach cure your heartbeat too?
Well, bleach is
Right.
effective for herpes and autism.
Killing you mean?
Everyone knows that, but it has a negative interaction with coronavirus. So as much
Well,
as
also with human tissue, right? It kind of deletes it or like eats through it. That kind of thing.
it really depends on how bad the herpes are. Because if you don't have herpes in your system and you drink bleach, it's going to have nothing to attack.
No,
Wait,
he's joking.
why is this herpes?
No,
Wait,
he's joking. Don't drink bleach. It'll kill you.
I'm just saying, well, why don't you read a book? Okay, myth number 2. Cocaine kills coronavirus. Look, I was just as excited as you guys were.
No one says this.
No, this is a huge thing. When I saw the photo on Twitter from trusted Nigerian music promoter at Busy Leosa of a screenshot of a TV news story suggesting that the most fun thing in the world could kill the least fun thing in the world. I mean, it makes total sense, right? It's like good
Yeah.
versus evil.
it excites it out of your
that
body.
actually makes sense.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a comic book come to life. And
It's
as
too,
much
it's
as
too live for the virus inside your body, so it's
No,
gotta
I
get
know,
out of
bro. Virus can't handle that. As much as I wanted this one to be true, guys, as a journalist, I think it's important that I set the facts straight. And in the pursuit of truth,
But you want to tell people that bleach clears herpes?
I know some people believe that.
Okay,
I don't.
all right.
Just
Do
specific.
you apply that topically or do you drink that?
The bleach? Yeah, you're gonna have to go to carry.what'sher-name.com.
I think you put it on your asshole.
Yeah, that's what you do.
You bleach your asshole.
That's
Yeah.
how that's a universal cure for
Heard of that?
Anyway, guys, as a journalist, I think it's important that I set the facts straight about this cocaine corona situation. So,
Okay.
in the pursuit of truth, I ran an extensive and very expensive battery of tests in an attempt to prove this claim, and sadly, it's false. Also, I'm going to need about 6 consecutive weeks off the show in mid-April. I have to admit, I thought I was onto something there for a minute until Sunday when I saw a tweet from the French Ministry of Social Affairs and Health, which happens to be one of the 2 accounts that my cocaine handle, at Cocaine Pat, follows. But I could only make out one word of the tweet in French, but I could tell it was bad. Will, can you make some sense of this for me?
Do you want me to read the
Yeah,
tweet?
would you mind?
Okay, it says non, la cocaine ne protège pas contre le hashtag COVID-19. C'est une drogue addictive provoquant de graves effets indésirables et nocifs pour santé des personnes, which means cocaine doesn't protect against coronavirus.
See?
It's an addictive drug that causes bad health side effects, including nausea.
Half of that's true, but I could tell it was
and
bad.
more friends.
And
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. So,
Popularity.
guys,
It causes
good
popularity.
No bleach, no cocaine. Finally, guys, perhaps this is the third myth and perhaps the most important one. If you practice a religion where drinking alcohol is illegal, or you live in a country where the consumption of alcohol is outright banned, do not take to drinking in an attempt to fend off coronavirus. I know it's tempting, right? You see a group of guys like us here at Hard Factor with our lush bodies.
Oh yeah, I mean with our health. I mean, just look at look at us.
Yeah, you see what alcohol
Physical
does, and you want in.
specimens. I mean, you want a piece of this.
I get it. It's hard to not want in.
But I don't believe this one's a myth. I think that alcohol temporarily kills everything. It's just then it makes it worse when you're done drinking.
Well,
You
we
think
had
that's true?
that theory. So like we used to live
Yeah.
we used to live in a hilarious party house where we would get hammered all the time, and we had that theory that if you
sure.
drank screwdrivers, you would never get sick.
Orange juice,
because
vitamin C. Yeah.
orange juice and vodka would just take care of it all.
It's true.
It's for sure. Like if you have a cold or a cough, I guarantee you 6 drinks in, you won't be fucking coughing till the
Right.
next day.
So there's the screwdriver.
It's a
theory.
fact, Jack.
Okay, guys,
whiskey works?
that may be true. That may be true. And if you're in America or Europe or Asia or some normal place where regular alcohol is put out, then maybe you'll be safe. But you can't just jump right into bootleg alcohol like a group of 44 humans in Iran did last week, who are all dead.
Oh.
So Iran
Again?
happens to be a country where alcohol is outright banned because alcohol is not part of their culture. And, the Iranians have what they like to call a tight ship of government, if you will. Anyway, these 44 took to turning to drinking bootleg alcohol to fend off the germ.
Was it like the Indian hooch wine?
Yeah.
It was something like that, but it takes an especially painful childhood and years of conditioning to be able to get up to the level of bootleg alcohol. You can't just jump
That's
in, guys.
true.
And no money.
That's
Yeah.
good advice.
Sad story. So anyway, guys, those are the
Start
myths.
with the wine cooler.
Wash your hands.
Yep.
That's your Corona update.
Well, thank you, Pat.
No problem.
We got
And here is Donald Trump Jr.
Welcome to the show, businessman and son of President of the United States, Donald Trump Jr. Don, thanks for coming on the show. Are there any Secret Service in the room with you right now?
There are not, guys. So
okay. Well, that's
gotta
good.
take care of myself on this one.
What floor are you on, though?
I'm on the 25th floor of Trump Tower at our main offices here.
Is that the top floor?
No.
The
No,
25th
that's,
floor.
Yeah, we go up to about 70 in this building. So
God.
it's one of those where it's bifurcated, right? So you have an office component in the lower portion of the building, and then you have residential units in the top portion of the building. So, this is where my father used to live, and little change of pace.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. We've got a couple of rounds of questions for you, and the mood is light, so we're trying to have fun here. And first up, I want to go with the fun one. Do you think if your dad promised to legalize weed and implement any healthcare system that had over 50% public support, that he could get every single electoral college vote in November?
Well, I don't know about every single. There's some pretty crazy states out there right now,
But California might even like that. I mean, single payer and weed.
It was sort of interesting when I watched last week. You got the California primary, and Donald Trump, as an incumbent without a real challenger, actually got more voters in the primary than Bernie and Joe Biden combined.
Yeah, to show up.
A bunch of these California sort of Republicans who have been just, sick of the nonsense. They see their, great cities being destroyed. And I mean, it's not like it's a joke or hyperbole or anything like that. I was there this past summer, raising some money in San Francisco, come out of one of the finest office buildings anywhere in America, and there's 4 people taking a dump in the middle of the park across the street.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like a joke that Republicans are blowing out of proportion.
No, they have
it's
tons of homeless.
disgusting.
Yeah.
And I sort of feel like, I wonder if even sort of the reasonable Democrats in California, and I think there still are some, are saying, okay, guys, like maybe we overplayed our hand with some of this bullshit. Like maybe it's time to, put the big boy pants back on and grow up. Because
that's what I'm saying. I mean, maybe if you extend that olive branch of legalizing marijuana and some type of healthcare change.
Well,
you never know. And listen, hey, I've gotten in trouble for saying this because it's not necessarily a Republican talking point, but I'm a realist. On some of these issues, I think if every guy in America, every woman in America that had a drinking problem smoked weed instead, the world would be a better place.
That's also true.
Agreed.
And also to get
I believe
around
that
that,
100%.
to get around the fact that it's not a Republican talking point, I know what you mean. You can't lose the evangelical vote. So what about if you legalize weed and in the pretext that it helps combat or make you more immune to coronavirus?
Right.
So,
well, yeah, I don't know about that, but listen, I think the reality is I'm still, from a conservative standpoint, I would say, leave the issue up to the states. There's certainly uses for it. I mean, I have plenty of friends in the military and stuff like that. From a medical standpoint, dealing with PTSD, there is a use for it. Now, I've also seen the other side of that. I've spoken to friends of mine in law enforcement in the states that they have legalized it, and the reality is the pricing is pretty still insane, right? Between all of the
they need to lower the price.
That it never really eliminated the black market, which was one of the
Colorado's cheap.
That's
but
true.
Colorado's cheap, but most states are not.
Yeah, but I think the whole notion, one of the big selling points for legalizing marijuana initially was, hey, you're going to eliminate the black market for it. And there's not going to be the crime. The reality, in so many places, it's still so expensive that you never got rid of that problem.
And also because it's not federally legal, so that's an issue, right? The banking,
of
the
course.
banking
Listen,
aspect.
it's a complex issue, and
but
like I said,
what I'm saying is we could all come together on this, and it could be to combat the coronavirus.
Right.
It's just a possibility.
We don't
I'm just putting it out
right
there.
now. We don't need to solve it right now.
The problem is, if I even agree with you a little bit with a smile and a joking thing, tomorrow the first Chiron on CNN will be Donald Trump Jr. agrees that weed will legalize.
Hey, look. Not
Not
agrees.
followers.
There's potential for research there, is all I'm saying.
Well, you know what we'll do? We can do the this is what CNN does with all of their fake news. Reliable sources have told us.
Yes, exactly.
Reliable sources have told us that this could be the cure. So
I'll be that reliable source. I'm willing to be that reliable source.
You look totally legit to me, so I think we're good with this.
Yeah. We are definitely going to create some fake news later in this interview. We're going to get to that to trick those type of organizations.
All right.
So I'm kind of the self-proclaimed expert on coronavirus here for the show, and all that means is I'm obsessed with it and read about it constantly. That's all it means. You got in some hot water recently. I saw the Axios interview for saying, Democrats try to take a pandemic and seemingly hope it comes here and kills millions of people so that it could end Donald Trump's streak of winning. And you said that was hyperbole. I think that's pretty obvious. Yeah. You can answer that for sure. But my question to you is, if your schedule was cleared today, would you go on a cruise?
No, I probably wouldn't. But, I said it with sort of hyperbole, but you can also see sort of the reaction, the way it is. And you can say they sort of want to be able to make it a bad response. Now, they're not running sort of the comparisons between Trump and Obama in 2008 when the swine flu came here. And they literally did nothing until, over 1,000 Americans had died. There's no response. The media wasn't trying to say there's literally nothing that Donald Trump could do that would make his response correct in their minds. That's pretty obvious. We've seen that in the past. We've seen that as it relates to the economy, where you have Bill Maher, you have all of blue check mark Twitter saying, well, it wouldn't be so bad if the economy collapses and tens of thousands, if not millions of people lose their jobs and they can't pay their mortgage and their families are destroyed so that we could eliminate Trump. I mean, they've said this. I mean, I remember blue checkmark Twitter during the economy coming out and being like, hey, guys, we've done a really good job of convincing Americans that they haven't benefited from tax cuts, even though 94% of them have. I mean, they literally are saying it out in the public. So, there is an element of this response. When Donald Trump said, hey, guys, let's be big boys, we got to shut down travel from China, the first response from Democrats and the mainstream media was, you're being xenophobic. You're being racist. That's it. It's racist. Because that's all they have, guys. It's literally the easy button of the political left. If you don't have an answer to a solution, let's make it racist. So, I think we've seen that there's literally nothing that Donald Trump could do that in their minds would be the right response, even if it's the right response. And so, while I said that with hyperbole, they're not hoping for a good reaction. They want to be able to weaponize this against him. And that's what they've been doing for 3 years with every issue that they've had.
For the record, I don't think it should be politicized no matter what side of the aisle you're on a pandemic. And I need you to go on record and say, do you think the common flu is more serious than coronavirus?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's the reality. I don't know. I mean, I've seen the statistics. I saw something today because, listen, I have 5 young children. Okay? I have 5 young kids.
Very good point.
And
Starting five, B-ball team.
Before 2 weeks ago, I didn't realize that the common flu killed, let's call it 50,000 people a year.
Right. The numbers
I
are
had
surprising.
no idea. I literally thought that like 0 people died from it, other than maybe the infirm who were probably on their way out anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I literally thought that, okay, you get sick for a week, you go back to work, and nothing changes. I had no idea. So I think people are generally misinformed. As the father of 5 young kids, I take it very seriously. But then I looked at the statistics and said, it was something like kids from 0 to 9, there have been 0 deaths.
No, they're immune to it, and
that's good.
They're almost immune to it, and so I'm saying,
they should sell their blood, honestly, because
But how come the media isn't saying this? Because I get it. I have.
They're saying it. I guess.
The mother of my kids is scared out of their minds. I have friends, that are uber libs that are literally texting me about, hey, which gun should I go buy in case this becomes the zombie apocalypse? Like,
I mean, that's a serious question. Yeah.
But the bigger question, though, on that note is if it's fake or not, right? So it's like there's media hysteria from time to time.
I don't think it's fake. I think it's a
the proportions,
real
I guess.
thing. But for all I know, if we have a mild flu season and this plays out a certain way, like we could be literally within the same statistical, let's call it death rate of anything else. So I don't know. I think the reality is we have to take precautions. I think my father's trying to be reasonable about this. Like, hey, my father's a germaphobe. He's the first guy that would love to say, hey, why don't we never shake hands again? And when we're out there doing these political rallies, I have people that come up to me on a daily basis like, Don, I love you so much. I want to shake your hand. Oh, this is the best moment of my life. Oh, dude, I'm getting over the flu. Fuck, I got 104. I'm saying, what are you doing?
People tell you when they shake your hand, it's the best moment of their life. That's awesome.
I've heard it. And it's like, but that guy with the flu, he doesn't even think about like, hey, maybe I'm passing this on, because for him, it's a big deal to go with this, sort of archaic tradition. Like, hey, guess what, guys? We're not hiding broadswords behind our back anymore. Like, maybe we go with a bow. Maybe we do something else. And maybe we do it certainly fist bump, whatever it may be. Maybe avoid the touch. We'll go to the elbow. Like, it's a little different today. And I think, like, we can be cautious about these things. We should probably have basic hygiene anyway. We should probably wash our hands anyway. The fact that, we need the CDC to tell us these things is probably a little bit ridiculous. But like, I see it every day. And like, I'm an old school guy in my own way. So like, I appreciate a good handshake. I appreciate the eye contact, the firm grip. I don't like getting the wet noodle, limp-wristed handshake.
You like to bring them in.
Pretty popular with
your
so
family
many
tradition.
Americans. So I appreciate that tradition. But like, in a time like this, maybe we want to say it's not. But hey, I've done it where I go like, hey guys, let's do the elbow. In the last week, I've done it, and they look at me like I'm insulting them.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
I just don't know where you've been. Like, I don't know. People are talking about a pandemic and everyone's dying. Like, is it that big a deal to you that, I don't want to exactly shake your hand right now? It's not like, it's not the end of the world. It's
not the last
new reality for coronavirus.
Being president of the United States is probably like the second toughest gig to the Pope for a germaphobe, by the way.
But you're gonna get it.
That's ridiculous.
And listen, I see it because I go out there a lot and do a lot of fundraisers. I warm up, do a lot of the rallies, and I shake thousands of hands a day, and it's like there are literally people that if you didn't do it, they think you're being totally insulting as opposed to
video. You'll be on
I'm
video.
just trying to be a reasonable individual. Given
on video, not giving a handshake.
Yeah.
Last question.
No, you see it. Like they would destroy you. So it's a hard thing to do. And I'm sitting there and be like, wait a minute. I'm supposed to have my kids this weekend. Right. I've been out. I did 4 things a day in front of at least 500 people at each one of them. I've taken a selfie with thousands of them. Like, I don't know, like, should I be with my kids or not? Like, and that this person would be insulted that it's like, hey man, like, I'm just going to be around 5 young kids for the next couple of days. Like, I just don't want to be sick. It was bad. I saw it. It was interesting.
You just got to jump in a tub of Purell.
Well, no, but to your point, in 2016 during the campaign, I mean, it was sort of the same thing, right? You're out there. I got a cold one time and I couldn't shake it for like 6 months because every day you're more people, you're introducing more pathogens. And so finally towards that last 9 months, I got better finally. And then I started getting super like hyper diligent. Like after each event, I did do the Purell thing. I did go to the, use and wash my hands. And I promise you, I didn't get sick again. It actually makes a big difference. And I'm not a germaphobe. I mean, I'm an outdoorsman. I could go weeks without, doing those sort of things. But in that environment, around people who may or may not be healthy, who may or may not care that they have the flu or the cold because it means a lot to them to shake your hand, it blows. It really sucks. So you do it anyway. But once I started sort of doing that thing in 2016, I literally have talked about it. It made a huge difference in, my ability to stave that stuff off.
Good. Last question on Corona. We'll move on from that. How much money are we getting back on this? Your dad came out and said there's going to be like a tax,
payroll tax
cut
yesterday.
No, I don't know. I think the reality is this. I think they're trying to act responsibly. If you don't have to go into crowded workplaces, if you're going to be a carrier. So, I don't know what the exact number is. I know they're doing a press conference today, but I think they're going to try to make it reasonable, and so that the average working American is not hit by this in an undue way, so that they can pay their bills, that they can, make their payment, their mortgage payments. Like, I think they're trying to be, again, very responsible as to how this affects people's real lives, and it does.
Corona is not going to change my champagne lifestyle, so I'm looking forward to that. All right, let's move off Corona, though.
All right, Don, we're going to kick it over to the election. So today is Super Tuesday 2.0, as they are calling it, another round of states.
Is it Super Tuesday or Super Thursday? I don't know.
Right. No. Super Thursday was last week.
Because if you show up 2 days late, it's kind of a big deal, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks like Sleepy Joe, as your dad refers to Joe Biden, is going to take most of them, and then is clearly the DNC's choice for president. It's a two-part question here. So Rudy Giuliani recently was quoted saying that he thinks Joe is showing early signs of dementia. What are your thoughts on that statement? And do you think, second part, do you think the DNC might try to sneak Hillary into the White House using Joe's body?
Maybe not literally, but figuratively, it wouldn't surprise me. The reality, you see sort of how the landscape is playing. And I say this, if you're questioning Joe, you see the media, they're doing it. It's a cute little mistake. It's like, well, every day? It's a cute little mistake. Oh, it's always been Joe. No, it hasn't. Go back and look at videos. Do yourselves a favor. Go back and Google videos of Joe Biden 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It's not the same guy. But more importantly, if Donald Trump made one Joe Biden type error that Joe Biden, we can all admit, does at least a few times a week, meaning not recognizing his wife, not knowing what office he's running for, not knowing what state he is in 50% of the time, saying he's going to appoint people to positions that the president can't actually appoint people to. This is going on day in and day out, every day. Okay, if Donald Trump did this once a year, every television psychologist would be on there. Donald Trump, I don't want to say retarded, but they'd be saying something like that. Yeah. They would say Donald Trump has dementia. He is in the late stages of Alzheimer's. It is time to invoke the 25th Amendment. We got to get him out of there. This is insane. Yeah. Joe Biden does it every day, and they're like, oh, it's cute. It's not cute anymore. By the way, if the Biden family wasn't making millions, if not more than that, off of his elected office for the last few decades, they would have stepped in and said, Joe, enough is enough. The Democrats are just smart enough. They want to rig it against Bernie. They don't want to lose with a socialist at the helm of the party, even though so many of their platform issues are basically going towards there. They're smart enough to know, hey, we can't market ourselves as socialists, even if that's where sort of the mainstream thought leaders of our party are going. So they're like, you know what, maybe we just put Joe Biden in there. We can convince him, he's Obama's guy and he's totally fine. And, they're going to have other people behind the scenes calling the shots. But think about it. And again, I know there's guys sort of on both sides of the aisle here. Do you really think that the media would let Donald Trump get away with the Joe Bidenisms that have gone on literally daily for the past few months?
Well, I don't think they have.
So.
They have.
No.
Oh, come on.
I also
maybe
real quick, Don,
Sean Hannity have called him out on it, but
Don, with your dad's videos, it's usually he's mispronouncing because they exist. It's usually he's mispronouncing a word or making up a word, which is very funny to watch. But it's different.
It's usually a word like huge. Yeah. Okay, right, where he says huge with a Y. And
it's like Covfefe or whatever.
He's still the boy from Queens. He says it the same way every time. It's not like he mispronounced it because he's literally slurring his speech and has no idea what state he's in.
About your psychology take there, saying that people will be saying that Bidens are cute and that your fathers are not. I've already seen an article come out saying that your father is still more mentally unfit for the presidency, even if Joe Biden has dementia.
Literally, guys, they can't help themselves. So Donald Trump took that acuity test back he made Ronnie Jackson administer this thing when they were saying it last time, and he aced it. Okay, he even the White House doctor that was appointed by Obama at the time, administered a test and said he aced it. Let Joe Biden take the same test publicly. Come on, do it. Like,
That's
I'll do it.
Right.
It was no different than like what they've been saying about me for the last 4 years. I got in, this was the Axios, the big thing that came from that interview. It was like, hey, they're saying that we are profiting from the presidency. We're doing this. I go, how about this? You didn't look at Hunter Biden for 8 years while he's making billions, taking billions from the Chinese government. He took 1.5 billion. So the fees on that in a fund for your average listener would be 2%. Okay, plus 20% of the upside. 2% on 1.5 billion is $30 million a year in fees. 30. Okay, if Donald Trump Jr. flew with my dad to China and came back with $1.5 from the Chinese government, the media would lose their goddamn minds. They would flip out. So on Axios, I said, how about this? Since the latest thing, because the Senate was talking about, we got to bring in Hunter Biden, maybe get to the bottom of this Ukraine scandal where his dad's on tape saying, if you don't stop investigating my son's company that he's making, 83 grand a month from, if you don't stop investigating it, we're cutting off $1 billion in funds. I said, how about this? Bring Hunter Biden, bring me. I will go full disclosure with Jim Vandehei, who let's just say isn't exactly a conservative, right? I'll let him do it. You guys go. I'll go full tax returns, full transparency. I'll give you every LLC that I'm a part of. You guys look at that, and you do the same with Hunter Biden, and you tell me who profited from their father's taxpayer-funded offices. Right. You look at the difference in my tax return before we were in office, and now, whatever you want to do to look at a delta, to look at a change, okay? Who wants to bet that Hunter Biden probably did a little better, started doing miraculously well?
Well, Don, you can't argue that both you and Hunter come from privilege, undoubtedly.
I get it. By the way, but I admitted that in the interview.
Yeah, and he did too. He did too in his interview.
My father could give me $1 billion as a private businessman, as part of his, his business that he built as an entrepreneur. Or he could light it on fire if he wanted to. There's a big difference in saying, oh, well, you got stuff from your father. Of course I did.
Right.
Of course I did. I'm Donald Trump Jr. I get that. There's a difference between that and utilizing the platform. Okay, you saw the other day, Hunter Biden. Well, he sent something to, USC, one of the universities. He'd love to teach a class there, and he's touting his, his elected office and, governmental connections. These are things that if Donald Trump Jr. did, people would lose their minds. Hunter Biden, at 28, got on the board of Amtrak. Why?
Right. He's held some dubious positions.
I think we can all say we're jealous of Hunter Biden.
But hold on, Don, you're right. But your family wasn't in politics.
Okay,
your family was in business.
He gets
and you got
a good job at MBNA coming out of college, and magically
you got a position at your father's company.
No one talks about that. MBNA is the largest bank in the state of Delaware, where Daddy is a senator signing favorable banking legislation. My point is this. If Donald Trump Jr. did the shit that Hunter Biden did, you'd hear about it, but you don't hear about them. They say, oh, no, it's not relevant. He's not running for president. It's like, neither have I. Hunter Biden is totally off limits, but Barron Trump, who's 13 fucking years old, is not off limits, guys. They'll go after him. Give me a break.
Well, Don,
by the way, Barron's like 7 feet tall.
That kid.
So when I said that, I go, hey, I'll go open book. But no one in the media is saying, okay, let's make this happen, because they know he's never going to do it.
We want to make it happen.
He's full of shit. They know he's been milking this shit for years.
Let me ask you a question.
Joe Biden's brother is now doing it. Give me a break, guys. This is ridiculous.
Hunter Biden, I want to make $1.5 billion and smoke crack and impregnate strippers.
Well, okay.
I don't even have a brother, but I'd fuck my dead brother's wife.
But do you think that the stripper that he knocks out and then spends 3 years hiding from child support, do you think that if Donald Trump Jr. maybe in my wilder days did something like that, do you think that they would try to find this woman? Do you think that she would be maybe the most on television person in the history of fucking television?
Yeah, we'd be trying to talk to her right now.
You wouldn't be able to get away from her. John, knows who it is.
I do want to ask you a serious about America real quick.
This is the double standard. And so when I get pissed off, this is why. Because I'm willing to go open book, but no one even talks about that. They just say, oh, well, you're stealing somehow. I was like, okay, I'm going open book, get him to do the same, and let's see once and for all. It's very simple, guys.
First of all,
if I'm willing to do it, that should tell you enough. I don't think he's going to do it.
Fight Hunter on Rough and Rowdy? Would you fight Hunter on Rough and Rowdy if we could put it together?
The debate's one thing.
I don't know what it is.
Barstool's boxing platform.
We can think about it. Right. If I say yes 100%, then they'll say, oh, he's encouraging violence. And, just like they're saying they only talk about violence from the right, but they don't talk about the left-wing guys driving cars through Republicans who are doing voter reg. They don't talk about the 15-year-old kid that gets punched in the face by a Bernie bro in New Hampshire 2 weeks ago. This is the double standard that we fight against, and maybe this is why I've been able to carve a little bit of a niche for myself, because I'm willing to engage, and I'm willing to, I'm willing to call out that bullshit for what it is. No one else is.
That's what I got to ask you real quick. So we have a divided country right now, unfortunately, right? And like, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, we want a cohesive America, an America that's together. What do you have to say to critics that are essentially saying that you challenging Hunter Biden, you bringing this guy in who clearly, after watching his interview and reading about him, wants nothing to do with his father's campaign? He's essentially, he's a recovering guy. He's essentially sitting there saying, I'm not.
Guys, give me a break. This isn't a baby. He's a Yale-educated lawyer, okay? This isn't a baby. He wants to make millions by flying over with his dad from the Chinese government. He gets on the board of a corrupt Ukrainian oil company, not knowing anything about oil and not speaking the language for $83,000 a month. But I don't want anything to do with my father. You can't have it both ways, guys. That's the point. I'm not going after him. I'm going after the hypocrisy. Yeah, it's wonderful. Hey, guess what? I didn't want to do 30 hours of testimony in front of Congress so they could try to get me to say that a meeting happened at 12:01 instead of 12:02, that they could throw me in jail for perjury. That's all that was. It was a perjury trap. I didn't want that. But guess what? I had to deal with it. So I get it. Yeah, he wants nothing to do with his father's office, except he wants to make millions of dollars off of it. And then he wants to be left alone. You can't have it both ways, guys.
How do you feel about him calling you clownish?
A break.
So he called you clownish, you and your siblings clownish in that interview. Did you see that interview? Did you hear that quote?
I didn't, but listen, he had 6 weeks to prep for an interview, and he still couldn't answer the basic question of why you were on the board of Burisma. Because he knows why. Because he was bought. No different than the big investors that I know in New York when I go, hey, guys, and guys that you would know by name. I won't call them out because we don't need to go.
Give us one, guys, Don.
How long did it take you to get investment in China? Oh, it took me 14 years, Don. What would I tell you if Hunter Biden did it in 5 days?
Fast.
It's either impossible or they were buying him. That's literally the response. And everyone knows it's true. No one had heard of Hunter Biden before this. It wasn't like he was a successful investor that had a track record. They were buying the connection, and everyone knows it. But the fact no one says it. So I do take it personally when they're like, well, Donald Trump Jr. is doing this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay, let's play, guys. I'm willing to do it. So he can say clownish all he wants on an interview where he's hiding behind this, and then he can hide behind the wall of, I want nothing to do with it. Be a man.
It's got to be exciting for you to have Biden's son be
The media says every day, like, hey, Donald Trump Jr., he's barely literate, and Hunter is a incredibly well-educated, Yale lawyer. Okay. So you should want to debate me because he should be able to destroy me. If the facts and there was truth behind it, he should want to put the nail in the coffin, man. Come after me.
Have you talked with them in the past year or so? Like, have you?
Hunter Biden?
Yes.
Have you ever talked to him?
No.
Do you, Don? Do you think
run in my circles?
Don, do you think that Hunter might be something that your dad touches on if he has to debate Joe for the presidency? Do you think that's going to come up?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I imagine it's a component of it when they're talking about government corruption, when they're talking about these things, when they spent, months literally trying to throw me in jail for taking a 20-minute unsolicited meeting when we were civilians in a campaign. Like, they did all of that and had no issue. Again, you can't have it both ways. And the media has historically gotten away with having it both ways, for the sort of from the mentality of the left. The difference is Donald Trump is not your typical conservative who, you call him a bad name. Oh, I'm gonna roll over into a corner and die because that's what the other side wants. I'm not willing to fight. Like, we got Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney. That school is over. Donald Trump is not that guy. Like, hey, I wonder if Joe Biden even shows up for the Trump debate, frankly. He's asking to have a chair on the debate stage to debate Bernie Sanders. You need a chair to debate a commie, but you're going to go one-on-one with Trump, and the media will protect him, and they'll say, oh, no, he doesn't have to. Oh, there's good reason. Trump is being mean. Like, give me a break. We're going to give this guy the nuclear football. Like, he doesn't know the difference between Maine and Florida, but, he's our guy. Like, good work, DNC. Like,
wow. So
what
Don,
could go
would
wrong?
you fight Hunter and Rough and Rowdy?
Yeah, well, it sounds like we can work this out.
It's sanctioned, so it's not violence. It's sanctioned.
You can wear headgear. You can both wear headgear.
And if it's a no now, what would we need to do to make it happen?
No, what I want the real debate. How about this? We do the real debate,
In
and
a
then we
boxing
can do
ring.
that as a follow-up, because I want the
There we
actual
go.
facts out there.
Perfect.
You do
Put
the
the
real
podiums in
debate.
the
Let's
ring.
do that as a follow-up to the, that could be the equalizer
go.
afterwards, okay?
So we have the challenge here. We have the challenge from
We got
after
it.
the debate.
We're
Donald
gonna-
Trump
You
Jr. has
guys
officially
said it,
challenged
because
Hunter
we're
Biden
gonna
and
go
Rough
around
Rowdy.
saying that I'm condoning violence.
No, no, no,
Sanctioned, Don.
But we're gonna don't worry. We're gonna make sure there's drug testing because we know Hunter's gonna be up to all sorts of illegal drugs.
Got to watch out for the PEDs.
Solid point.
Right. Will.
Speaking of combat, I'm going to change it up a little bit here. What are your feelings about this new NASA deal with SpaceX and Elon Musk, and how that you think Elon's going to leverage that to get involved with the Space Force at all? You think?
I don't know enough about it. I mean, I'm excited to see Space Force sort of, materialize. I think, the reality. Not to be Trekkie, but it's sort of the final frontier, right? I mean, we got to be up there, and like the fact that we'd sort of neglected it along with so much of the rest of our military for so long is really important. But I do listen as a consummate capitalist. I do love seeing sort of private enterprise doing it because I believe in capitalism. I believe they will figure out a way to do it better, and if there's a way to do it, they'll probably do that. So you combine the incredible brain power of NASA with sort of the ultimate capitalists. I think you're going to get a result that gives us that edge on the rest of the world. Now what we got to do is continue pushing and putting pressure on China so they don't basically steal our trillions of dollars of intellectual property, and now they're on an equal playing field with us without having to do anything. But I think that's important, and I think we all got to work together to make that happen, because that's our ultimate security for the future. If you don't think that's the case, I mean, you're probably asleep in a cave somewhere.
Do you know? You probably know. Are there aliens on Earth right now?
It's funny. If there was one question I would probably want to know the answer to, it's that. I've never had the balls to be like, okay, tell me the truth. Come on.
Just follow up.
Just blink twice.
Yeah.
Follow up to that, then we can guess about it. So what's more likely to happen first with our Space Force? Are we going to go to war with our own Mars colony who's revolting against us, or a war with an alien invading force? What do you think?
I have no idea. I imagine, I have no idea, guys.
We smoke a lot of weed, Don.
That's a good question. I didn't know you were going to ask that.
You never know. Listen, I think we'd be naive to not assume that there's something else out there, right? There's got to be something. I don't know what it is, but like,
I'm excited to find out. So.
From sheer statistical perspective, given the size of the universe, like, probably has to be something. I'd love
aliens.
To know.
Okay, I'm thinking colonists, but
Space Force. Yeah. All right, this is where we're going to create some fake news, so bear with us.
For the other side.
Yeah. All right, it looks like your dad is suing the New York Times and maybe CNN over libel. Is that true? First part. Yes. Okay.
Well, the campaign is, right? So the campaign is doing those things, but yes.
All right. So you guys are both really good at generating buzz and spinning stuff in the media to like generate buzz.
You guys are masters.
Masters. We need some of that. So I bear with me. We're going to switch to slander here, but it's fake slander. So what I'm about to say is fake. And everyone will know that tomorrow, but we're releasing teaser clips of this today. So if you can respond with something along the lines of like, no, that's absolutely false, and now I'm gonna sue you, Hard Factor. You have to say Hard Factor, because if you say Barstool and this clip goes out, we might get in deep trouble. So it's got to say Hard Factor. So I'm gonna say something now, and I'd like you to respond with something along the lines of that's absolutely false, and now I'm gonna sue Hard Factor. All right, here we go.
Before we go, you won't sue us though. Is that's clear?
It's fake.
No promises.
Let's
say, hey man, I want some of that stool presidente type money. You know what I mean?
All right, we have it on.
Come on, I'm still a Trump.
No laughing.
I'm only mad at Hunter because I want that gig. I want $83,000 a month. I want $30 million a year from the Chinese. Like, why can't I have that gig? That's all it is, guys. I'm just jealous.
All right, everyone reset. Everyone be real serious. Serious faces. All right, we have it on good authority here that you, and by you I mean the Trump organization, has organized and profited from illegal dogfighting. Care to comment?
That's bullshit, and I'm going to sue Hard Factor's ass off for saying it.
Oh, boy.
Shit.
Shit. Like
Trouble, guys.
Is that good?
Great.
That was perfect.
That was pretty good. That's pretty good.
We're gonna clip that up. If you could, the final nail in the coffin would be if you could retweet that today with these 4 idiots better lawyer up. Then we'll get the buzz. CNN, all those people will start investigating it.
I think we can make that happen, boys.
Oh,
Yeah, we're getting to the
Hey,
end.
listen, always be trolling, right? I wouldn't be myself if I couldn't have a little good fun, doing some trolling.
We'll get to that clip in a couple hours, and you can just go ahead and retweet it.
All right, just got a couple more for you, Don. So in 2024, your dad will likely, as many think, complete his second term as president. Do you think there will be another Trump ticket in 2024? And are you excited about being Ivanka's vice president?
The answer is I don't know. It's sort of crazy. I mean, what's going on for the last, few weeks and months is like, I'll open up for my father at some sort of rally and, I'll start getting the 46 chant. And, honestly, it's incredibly humbling. I think from a conservative standpoint, I think they just sort of see, an element of the same, fight in me. And honestly, I think if you look before politics, if you asked anyone who knew us well, they would have said I would have been sort of the guy least like my father in many respects. Maybe, sense of humor wise, we're probably pretty close. But, in sort of in the cage that is the political theater these days, it turns out we're a lot more like each other than anyone who knows us well would have ever thought. And so
later in life?
to me, that's an incredibly humbling thing to see. And I love when, Ivanka does well with those things too. And she's doing an incredible job with her stuff. But honestly, my sole focus is 2020. I just want to get him elected. I like what's going on. I like seeing these sort of wins. I like seeing him tackle things that have sort of been, things that no one else would have ever taken on, frankly, from either side, but especially from the conservative standpoint. So, I don't think so. I've not even thought about it. The reality, again, it's incredibly humbling when people want you to do it. And I think it's only because, they're starving. And conservatives have been starving for someone who's actually willing to engage, who's actually willing to take the fight on. The Democrats have done that really well for a long time. Republicans sort of say whatever it needs to be said on a stump, and then they roll over and die. It's a different mentality, but I don't think so. But it would be an honor to be Ivanka's VP. I would do that in a second.
We're just going to clip it to that.
I know that. Yeah.
Down real quick. Do you have a favorite memory of your dad teaching you a specific man skill? And let me give you an example. Like my dad taught me how to drive stick shift, and he taught me how to set off an M80 with a Roman candle. Do you have a favorite man skill memory of your dad getting out there?
I got a lot of those. I sort of wrote about it in my book, Triggered.
I read Triggered. I'm looking for something new. Triggered's great, by the way. Read it.
Thank you. I had a grandfather who was Eastern European. He was a blue-collar electrician from communist Czechoslovakia. So it's sort of, how I sort of got my, early experience with socialism and communism, and I write about that a lot. He's the guy that taught me a lot of those sort of man skills, how to drive stick, how to, tools, all this sort of stuff. I then learned on construction sites because my father was one of those guys, hey, if you're going to build a building one day, you better damn well know how to dig the foundation. And so, my brother and I, we grew up on D10s. We grew up, working actual job sites. And so we know how to do all of those things. I think the skill sets that my father taught me were more about sort of, life, business, common sense. So, I remember sort of my first, not my first job, but the first job that was, sort of brutal. I was working sort of a landscaping construction job. And I'd started off working as a dock attendant for a few years. I was about 13, 14 years old, and I'd spend my summers in Atlantic City, away from home, working on the docks. And that was cool because you're out in the sun, there's chicks, there's, you're getting paid
behind
tips.
The thing.
You're making
picking up on the
minimum
ladies.
wage, but it was like minimum wage with, with nice drinks. Not that I was doing those kind of things at 13, 14 years old, for the record, just in case.
Of course not.
We
Nobody
were.
worked for a summer
I would
job
have
and got
never
drunk
done
underage.
that,
Nobody did that.
No, listen, I'm not going to ever. I don't think anyone's going to see my personality and assume that I was always an angel. Okay, that's not the case. But so I did that for a couple summers, and it was kind of cool. But making minimum wage and tips is great. So I go to the third summer, sort of working. I'm probably 15, 16 years old, and I'm working literally, driving tractors, running chainsaws, doing like a landscaping job, cleaning up a job site for a construction site. And I'm still making minimum wage. There's obviously no tip component. It's brutal. It's much harder work, much more dangerous. There's no chicks. And, finally towards like the middle of the summer, I just go to my dad and I was like, Dad, like, I'm making less money effectively because I'm still making minimum wage. I'm doing much more work. I'm not getting, I'm not getting the tip side of this. Like, why didn't you pay me more? He goes, well, why would I pay you more money than you were willing to work for? Like, if you don't get anything, you don't get anything you don't ask for. And so it was sort of this like first lesson where the light bulb, went off in my head about, okay, like in life, we'd love it to be this, rosy, world of snowflakes and unicorns, but it's not. Like, you got to get out there, you got to fight for yourself, you got to ask for yourself. You don't get anything that you don't ask for. And so to me, that was sort of the first real sort of life lesson that he taught me. And I tried negotiating retroactive, and that failed miserably. It was a total disaster, but it really drove the point home for me for the rest of my life. It was pretty brutal.
Nice.
Yeah. On that note, we're weight loss guys. I don't know if you know if you notice our bodies, but they're not as tight.
That. You guys are very sexy because
Thank you.
Well, so I should
looking good too.
I
Don.
should say we aspire to be more weight loss guys. And I'm curious, your dad is a total unit, just an absolute unit. What do you think he weighs?
I don't know, 230, 240.
Really? Because I'm looking at him, I'm thinking like closer to 3 based on my body type.
He's tall.
He's tall.
He's 6'3", right?
And what's interesting is, what no one understands, he's actually a really, really good athlete. Like, he was, the captain of every team of, in his high schools and stuff like that. He was, actually recruited to then play pro baseball when he got into Wharton. Like, he's actually a really good athlete. So people, I think, underestimate him a lot. Like all of us, we could probably do a little bit better.
Not us, Don.
You guys and myself are obviously the exception to that. But you can always work a little harder. But
on
I
that
think
note,
you'd be surprised, and I don't think anyone's ever questioned his level of energy. So whatever he's doing, it's working.
Can Barron dunk now? How tall is Barron? He's got to be 6'6".
Honestly, Barron's got to be. He's 13. He's going to be 14 soon, but he's got to be 6'5". I mean, I'm the runt of the litter in my family, and I'm 6'1", 190. You know what I mean? Like, it's
that's ridiculous.
Barron's going to be like 7 feet. He's going to be like the mountain when he's done.
He's so tall.
He's so big.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I'm sitting there being like this 13-year-old kid. He's got 4 inches on me. I'm like, what's going on here? This is
humongous.
ridiculous.
It's crazy. Every time you see him on TV, he's grown like 5 inches. It's crazy.
Yeah. One of our buddies that ironically used to play beer pong every once in a while at Georgetown with your brother Eric. He's got 3 nephews. They're pretty young, but they're already all like over 6 feet. They're averaging 6'10", 6'8", and 6'7" is what they're tracking to be. So
it's nuts.
That's pretty crazy.
The Georgetown crew has some tall people.
Are you aware of Predictit? Have you heard of Predictit? They're our main sponsor. Have you heard of them?
I haven't.
So they're like the stock market of the news. You can
Oh,
gamble.
yeah, I read about this. Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about.
So for example, they have different markets you can bet on because they're like stocks. You can buy and sell. That's why it's allowed, why it's legal in all 50 states. But one of the markets is how many Trumps will Donald Trump Jr. have this week?
How many tweets?
How many tweets? Did I say dunks?
Trumps.
No, how many tweets will Donald Trump have each week? And this week, the lowest market was 159. And a couple of us bet that you'd have more than 159, and you didn't. You had less than 159. So we lost a little bit of money.
Week, huh?
I took the under, though.
I got to run some arbitrage on this shit, man. I gotta get with it and be like, listen,
that's
you're going to hit
what we're getting at.
73 and no more.
Can we
there you go.
Can we give our listeners a pick for next week?
Yeah, that's kind of what we're getting at. No, give us the pick.
Yeah, well, yeah, but we won't tell our listeners. No.
So you let us know how many tweets you're going to. Yeah.
What was the last 7 days?
Well, you did like 145, and it resets, I think, today.
Well, listen, I'm going to take the over on that one just because of what's going on in the world. So
okay.
I'm going to
yeah,
over.
Don,
okay, that is some good information.
Don, so you finished at 151, 208, and 172 in the last 3 weeks. You're averaging 177 a week.
So this week they're going to set the bar. Probably the lowest will be like 160 or under. Then you can bet like 161 to 170, 171 to 180, and so on.
I'll just hit there and say, send it, baby, send it.
Yeah. Well, we know we're getting a few retweets off of you today.
Yeah, you can do what your dad does and just slam that retweet button.
Hammer the over. Does the retweet count, or does it have to be?
Yes.
Sort of
It counts. Retweet counts.
Even the retweet counts. Okay, yeah, then I got to be over because.
Yeah, so your dad goes like 300.
I like to fight on social, but I'm also about giving love to those, those who are making good points as well. So I don't just sort of hog the concept. There's nothing worse than that, I
expect no less than, since you cost us a couple $100, I expect no less than 2 or 3 retweets related to this.
So there you go. And hammer the over, guys.
I think we can work something out. Do
we have anything else?
I'm good. It was a good interview. I'm good.
No, Don, thank you so much for joining, Don.
Well, it's my pleasure, guys. Let's do it more often. Like I said, compared to the normal sort of rigmarole where you have to take yourself too seriously. Now, by the way, they'll take my F-bombs and say that I'm a terrible human being for having some fun with guys who have fun, but that's okay.
No.
Not on our show, man.
No.
They call us all terrible every day, so it's okay.
Yeah, we get it from both sides because we like to, we're equal opportunists, so we get shit from both sides. So
yeah. Hey, listen, by the way, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and that's, half of my rant is that, hey, all I want is I want it to be the same on both sides, and it doesn't seem to be that way right now. So, maybe we can push it that way.
That Twitter thing was crazy. The Twitter manipulated media thing. Did you see that?
I did, and listen, like I said, it doesn't surprise. Like, it's not like we took false words and put them into Joe Biden's mouth. We just didn't play his full 20-minute speech. So if he says something stupid and you clip it short, it's no different than what they did with Charlottesville. Right? I mean, everyone acknowledges, but they're still running out there as though, oh, he said there are great people that are white supremacists. It's bullshit. You know what I mean? It's no different than what they do. So when he does the clip, it's fine. Twitter probably is sitting there promoting it. And that's the real problem, guys. Social media and those masters, they get a lot of protections from liability from the federal government, but they're censoring one side of the argument. No one's ever heard of a leftist organization saying, "Oh, I can't believe they took down our bullshit." Like, it doesn't happen. It only happens.
That was the first
way,
one.
Which is why I've been sort of a crusader on that issue as well. Because I'm not saying,
coming.
and I don't want to start a right-wing version of it. I want everyone to have a level playing field because I'm a believer.
Red Twitter. That
What?
would be hilarious.
Red
There is one.
Blue
You don't wanna
Twitter
go
and a
on.
red Twitter.
No, but I don't want that. All I want is an area where our opinions get the same level of traction. And again, I was one of the first people to sort of, blue check mark Twitter, people with big following to have something to lose. Like, I was the first guy to call bullshit on Jussie Smollett, right? Yeah. I was the first guy to be like, wait a minute. Now he's on Ellen, Today Show, all these things crying. And I'm saying, hey guys, like, by the way, if it happened, whoever did it, fucking fry them. That's it. Like, there's no place for any of that shit, in our society. But like, I go, do you really think that there were white supremacists running around the streets of downtown Chicago wearing MAGA hats who managed to not get shot in 15 seconds?
Yeah, they'd have some pretty big balls.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but like, do you really think that there's a guy, the white supremacists who obviously watch Empire because, it's big for their demographic. They're obviously watching Empire. They obviously know who Jussie Smollett is. They're waiting for him on the coldest night of the year at 2 a.m. in Chicago because they had the incredible hunch that this rich actor is going to go get Subway instead of order from Seamless.
You got to take his word for it
I called
first.
bullshit on this thing. And listen, there's a lot for me to lose if I get this one wrong. Okay? Like, if I'm wrong on this one, but the fact set was so fucking stupid that I literally could not go there. I have a little bit of the Trump Tourette's of the thumbs, right? I was like, I don't know, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that ended up being politicized.
Tweet market.
And so I got every left wing, oh my God, Donald Trump Jr., he's spreading racist conspiracy theory. I was like, I wasn't spreading anything. I asked a simple question. No one had an answer. Now, a year later, no one talks about that part. They're like, oh, it's ridiculous. All I want is justice for Jussie, hashtag. Like, stop it. Like, but, that's what it is. So Instagram took down my post. Left-wing media calls me a racist. They say that I'm spreading conspiracy. Like, when someone on the left does that and makes up lies about Trump, when everyone in mainstream media does the bullshit, the fake news narrative about whether he's called coronavirus a hoax, he didn't. Whether he said there were fine people when he was talking about white supremacists and that, he wasn't, and everyone knows it. There's no censorship of that.
But it's still press. So
I get it, but that's not right. They're literally sitting there trying to manipulate people's sentiment towards a guy. But it's okay if you do it against Trump.
But doesn't it hurt them in the end?
Like,
doesn't it hurt them in the end?
Because we're playing, guys, but we got to be playing the same game. If we want to play hardball, let's play hardball. If we want to play t-ball, let's play t-ball. But we need to play the same game, and we're not getting that as people on the right.
I think it's worked out in your dad's favor. I think that it isn't fair, but I think that it riles up, that fan base to say it's not fair. I think
so, but I don't want to rile up a fan base based on bullshit. What I want is everyone to see the facts for what they actually are, and then go for it, right?
Well, and they spend so much time, fixated on your father, and I think in that regard, the negative press also because it gets so much time.
I agree. As someone who utilizes those platforms to do what I can, I think the mainstream media has done themselves the greatest disservice you could possibly imagine. I think, in 5 years, when there is no more Donald Trump presidency, I think some of these mainstream media institutions are going to go bankrupt because they will have nothing else. They've staked their entire future on being able to talk shit about Trump, and that's all they've done. So they've hurt their credibility so much. I mean, they have less credibility than fucking Congress, which is hard to believe. And
in terms of calling it both ways, though, we'll see what happens because that was Twitter's first time using it this week. So, like, you know,
but guys, happened to be. In all fairness, you've never seen the left wing. You know, even the left-wing lunatics, and I say there are right-wing lunatics, you've never seen them deplatformed, demonetized, locked out of Twitter. You know, they're doing this to, like, mainstream staple right-wingers. You know, they did it to Pete Hegseth.
Yeah,
you know, he's on Fox every day. He's on Fox and Friends. He's a decorated Marine. He's a good dude. They're deplatforming him, but they don't deplatform the left-wing uber crazies. You know, they threw off. Who was it yesterday? I don't like either because they took on Gay Wonk or whatever it is, who is lying about his background. Like, so when the right-wing guys call out the lefties and get it right, they still pay the price. But, you know, the lefties who are full of shit, nothing happens to them. And so, you know, I do think that people are sick of that nonsense. And, you know, I think that most reasonable people, you know, still want that platform. Now, it's sort of like what we were talking about California earlier. I asked someone when I was there last week about, hey, when does the reasonable person in this state, you know, even the reasonable Democrat sort of step up and say, hey, enough is enough. And they're like, honestly, there's no reasonable ones left. They all left because they saw what was happening. And that's the problem. You know, the inmates are running the asylum. Even if I wanted to take Mark Zuckerberg at face value and say that he believes we're doing this, even if we listen to Jack Dorsey on Twitter and say, yeah, shadow banning's a real thing, it was happening. Like, even if they wanted to change that, I don't know that they can, because the 35,000 people below them in the ranks that are in leadership, that control the algorithms, that do the work, they all believe that gospel. They all believe they're doing.
Well, they live in the Bay Area.
They're doing justice by lying about Trump or making sure that he can't get his message out effectively. So the inmates are running the asylum. Even if leadership wants to change, I'm not sure they actually can, because there's too many other that are just fully bought into that bullshit side of the narrative that are controlling things. So it's not easy to overcome.
Yeah, Zuckerberg's definitely not in the details.
Well, yeah, they did mess up.
So if you could get in your father's ear, if Corona, you know, lasts and comes back in the fall or whatever, I really want to be the Corona czar. I think I'd do a good job of that. So just mention that to him.
Which Corona, the virus or the beer?
Both. I can double up.
All Corona
super right there.
Speaking as his representative,
we're going to make sure you're the Corona beer czar, okay?
Okay.
Beautiful.
That works.
You got ins at Anheuser-Busch? It sounds like you got ins at Anheuser-Busch.
You never know. You never know.
All right, I think.
Yeah, Don, we can't thank you enough, brother. Thanks for being on.
Hey, guys, thank you very much. Have a good one.
Stay safe.
You too.
Whoa, that was fucking awesome. Huh?
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty good.
Big
Quite
guest.
a time.
Big guest for the boys.
We're going to go to voicemails. Hang on one second.
Oh, you're playing it early.
Yep, I played it early. I'm going to go again.
He's too ready.
Yeah.
Hey, guys. It's Little Ounce here. No, I'm just kidding. It's Adam from Minnesota again. Anyway, recently, a frat party at my college recently threw a quote-unquote Corona party. And before I get too into it, Greek life isn't super big on my campus. People don't take it super seriously. Don't get me wrong, they're super nice guys, but definitely give off some glue-sniffing, Velcro shoes kind of vibes, if you know what I mean. Anyway, they threw like a coronavirus party where everyone drank Coronas and wore surgical masks. Personally, I thought it was pretty funny. Not everyone did. I just wanted to get your guys' opinion. Is this a funny party idea, you know, coming off this spring break, or is it kind of untasteful, given the recent events?
Oh, that's
Anyway,
The latter.
have a good day.
I mean,
To answer that question, though, it really just depends on how many people die. We don't know yet. Right now, it's potentially funny. If a lot more people die, it's not funny.
Well, also, they're saying, you know, potentially the xenophobia. It's not. It depends. I
mean, like, it's one of those things. Like,
Can't you just
do you
do a
think
toga
it's going to
party?
turn out?
Somebody.
I don't think it's going to look like blackface in a bunch of years. You're not going to look like the governor of Virginia, but it's probably not too sensitive.
What's the point of throwing a theme party in college anyway? It's to meet chicks, and this doesn't sound very. This doesn't really sound like a horny party.
No, it's not sexy.
No.
Masks.
Anything but clothes.
Biohazard.
Yeah.
Couples parties.
You know, condoms are going to be there.
Stoplight parties.
Right. Do a lingerie party.
Well, I mean, I've heard a lot of people talking about these Corona parties. I mean, it's a little bit insensitive, but come on. I mean, people, get over it.
Well, they're all doing it. Yeah, I mean,
what's a glue sniffer Velcro?
That's what I was wondering, if you know what I mean.
These are fellow college students of yours?
Also, big shout out to Big Ounce there. Big Ounce's voicemail has a ripple effect.
Yeah, it was Little Ounce.
That was Little Ounce.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to be called Little Ounce.
I think it's perfectly fine. Have your Corona parties, but there's way sexier parties to be had.
Yeah, I would recommend anything but closed parties.
Yeah, I mean,
no one goes to
absolutely.
What do you mean no one goes to those parties?
If we're talking about that versus like other parties, yes.
It's like just like a bunch of people in like saran wrap.
You've never been doing anything but closed parties.
I was in Greek life, and yes, I have been to anything but closed
well,
parties.
there's also any other party where you don't have to be completely covered in hazmat gear.
There's also 100
like,
pounds later.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of clothes.
I mean, it is a virus that people are dying for. You wouldn't have like a cancer party or like a AIDS party.
Is that like the same thing? Because here's the deal with Corona, though, is that like young people are actually like kind of
I would
mostly
say,
not affected.
I would say at this point, coronavirus is more in line with like a hurricane party than an AIDS, like a
cancer
party.
There's gonna be a few people out there like my fucking grandpa.
Like when you have a party to celebrate a hurricane.
Well, of course, nobody's gonna be laughing about it in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But right now, I mean, these parties are just going to happen. So, like, I don't know. Like, it's not like worth it to have your sensibilities offended.
But if you're in full hazmat suit, you're not showing your face, so the pictures,
right?
You can deny. Yep.
So it's a 50-50, Little Ounce.
Do you
flip a coin?
Enjoy your youth, Little Ounce. Mm-hmm. Will, you're up.
Yeah, I mean, certainly don't sit out a party just because you're offended by have fun. All right, guys, free rides, hotel stays, airline miles, restaurants. You get excited about that 1% reward you're getting on that credit card. But what do you get? But what do your savings and bank account give you? Most banks only give you about 0.01% interest on your savings, but you should be earning more. With Wealthfront Cash Account, you can get 1.27 APY on your savings. That's 14 times more than the national average. With Wealthfront Cash Account, you earn more interest on your money. They have one of the highest interest rates in the market at 1.27 annual percentage yield. That's 14 times, like I just said, the national average of 0.09% according to FDIC.gov. It's easy and fast to get started. It only takes $1 and a few minutes to open an account. You can even do it from your phone. No paperwork required. There are no fees, and your money is FDIC insured up to $1 million. So, I mean, I don't think anybody on this show have more than $1 million they're going to put into the Wealthfront.
No, that's a good amount.
Talking about future me?
Pretty much all you need for now. You might need more. Wealthfront is the ideal way to manage your money. You can save, plan, invest, and get financial advice all in one place, and they make your money work harder for you. Make money management easier and reach your financial goals faster with the winners of the NerdWallet's Best Robo-Advisor for Cash Management in 2020, Wealthfront. Right now, you can sign up for Wealthfront Cash Account in less than 5 minutes by visiting wealthfront.com/factor. Go to wealthfront.com/factor and start earning 19 times more interest on all of your savings. Again, that's wealthfront.com/factor. I've got to read a couple requirements here.
As fast as you can.
Okay. Wealthfront is not a bank. Cash account is offered by Wealthfront Brokerage, LLC. Member FINRA SIPC. Wealthfront conveys funds to partner banks who accept and maintain deposits, provide the interest rate, and provide FDIC insurance. The APY is subject to change if you include NerdWallet. NerdWallet is a solicitor.
Will, did you include NerdWallet?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you don't have to say if you include NerdWallet.
That's part of the ad read.
No, I know. If you included it in your first part, you just read if you include NerdWallet. You just have you included it, so you have to read the part after that.
You indices yourself.
I'm over here thinking you could have been an auctioneer.
If you include NerdWallet in your ad read, then read this part.
But now I know.
Well, since I included NerdWallet in the ad read, NerdWallet is a solicitor for Wealthfront Brokerage and may receive cash payment for referral services. Get your ass over to Wealthfront. Get your 19 times more on your savings. You're going to want that.
He's a Cadillac, not a Ferrari. There
was also one part in that ad read where like the volume started fucking up, and he said, "Now." It sounded like a remix.
Yeah, it sounded like I was at the Corona party.
In your own words,
guys, you want to hear how many minutes we're ahead on schedule right now because of my fast ad reading?
What a read! That's one of the better ones. All right, guys, Dietz Tweets is back with this submission. So we've talked about how hard it is to get toilet paper in the grocery stores and places like Costco a bunch of times, right?
Is it for real hard?
Corona? Yeah, it's for real hard.
I bought a big batch last month, so I haven't needed
Well,
to.
see,
Well,
I
right.
don't
Well,
know
you better
either,
not
Pat.
go back now.
I don't know either, Pat, because not for me. I get my TP delivered on Cadence by Amazon for like the last year and a half. I'm swimming in TP at all times.
Cadence is when it just comes.
Well, it's like every 2 weeks I just get this huge shipment, an enormous cardboard box that says Charmin all over it. So the delivery driver must think I only eat like raisins.
Yeah, no,
Just huge boxes of Charmin
Right on
delivered every
time.
2 weeks. It's very embarrassing.
My very regular.
Luckily, no
customer.
one steals it. The homeless
So how
guy's
much
like,
extra do you have at this point?
it depends. I have plenty.
I mean, it's continually building up.
Yeah.
In that
Every once in a while, we hit skip next.
Yeah.
Next.
You ever
delivery.
get behind?
Yeah. No. We're ahead in my household.
Honey, we
on
really
toilet
got to
paper.
We really got to do something about this. We really got to get to work here.
Really embarrassing deliveries, guys. Like me, a family in Australia has no problems these days with staring at empty shelves of toilet paper where they should have been. That's because they won't be shopping for toilet paper for quite some time. Haiti Janetsky of the Janetsky family thought she ordered 48 rolls of toilet paper online, but she actually ordered 48 cases of 2,304 rolls of toilet paper, guys.
In Australia.
Whoops. She clearly doesn't check her statements and bank accounts often, as all 2,304 rolls were delivered to her home in southern Queensland. And I mean, I thought my deliveries were embarrassing. Whoa. The shame she must have felt for being a dum-dum, and not to mention the product that was delivered. Yikes.
You're an asshole for fulfilling this order if you get it. You're a fucking jerk.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Wait, why?
I guarantee.
No, the warehouse guy
I
is like, oh,
guarantee
yeah,
you-
I'm going to ship these motherfuckers.
I was gonna get to it later, Wes, but I guarantee you the delivery driver demanded to take a picture with her.
Yeah, for
Right
sure.
in front of the
She must have a huge butt.
Yeah, no shit.
What's going on in there?
Janetsky said she felt confused and a little bit of an idiot. A little bit like an idiot. And then this is my joke, Wes. When she ordered and delivered, when it was ordered and delivered, but she felt a lot like an idiot when the delivery driver demanded to take a picture with her.
Yeah, for sure.
I think this is the only joy that delivery drivers get. If you're in the if you're in the service biz, it's tough. You got to get your get when you can.
Is this a farm of butts? A butt farm? Haiti and her husband Chris like to have fun, guys. So they went ahead and calculated the amount of times it would take to go through all the toilet paper by averaging their household shits and pees for the women. And after that fun little game, they told everyone it would take 12 years.
What a sexy couple's activity.
Fun activity. They even posted a neat picture of Haiti sitting on a throne of toilet paper. Huh? Imagine that. What a gas.
Nothing gets me horny like my
Janetsky-
ladies to the top of a
Janetsky's-
pyramid of TP.
Janetskys are hilarious.
There's a
How much
spike
money
around
do
the
they waste on
holidays.
this?
What's that?
How much money did they waste on that?
Well, here's the thing, as much fun as I like to make fun of the Janetskys, they're not only funny, but they're kind, as they're now selling some of the toilet paper in a fundraiser for to help their entire children's school go on a
that's
field
good.
trip.
That's
Yeah,
good
they're
of them.
trying to make lemonade out of it.
Other people that shit.
I didn't know Australians donated to charities.
No, Pat, what's that going to do for us?
What do you mean?
What's that going to do?
Oh, that's going to do it for Hard Factor, motherfuckers. Thank you for joining us. This is What the Fuck Wednesday. If you're new to the show, it's What the Fuck Wednesday is all listener-submitted stories, plus the addition of sometimes Donald Trump Jr.
Nice.
Bizarre,
Once
but
in a
wonderful.
while, yeah.
We will have more guests, and I promise they'll be on all sides of the aisle, because that's the way we do it here at Hard Factor. I don't want to hear any bullshit about us leaning left or leaning right. We're just trying to cover the news and cover politics so you can be an informed American
right,
and sometimes
enough.
Canadian.
Enough.
Well,
I get it.
I was doing a thing there. Have a great fucking day.
Oh, yeah!